Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. Reynolds immediately ordered, "Get ready, everyone, we must stop him, never let him into our turf." On Reynolds' stellar battleship, all weapons have been activated, ready to attack Su Yan at any time. Yes. Reynolds' order was just issued, and the weapons on the entire stellar battleship instantly lit up, and the dazzling light illuminated the entire interstellar space, and even the entire universe. Huh. Huh. A burst of laser rays slammed towards Su Yan from all directions. Damn, what is this going to do? He actually hit me. Su Yan saw the dense laser rays and couldn't help but swear. Afterwards, Su Yan steered the Hyperion and immediately avoided the laser beams. Those laser rays slammed into the Hyperion's defense cover, making a crackling sound. Although the protective cover of the Hyperion was shaken by the bombardment of these laser rays, it was not damaged. Laser rays of this level could not injure the Hyperion at all. The Hyperion moves very fast in space, and laser rays of this level cannot be shot at all. In the speed of space movement, the Hyperion can be said to be able to beat these laser rays. However, Su Yan was also very depressed. When he flew to this planet just now, he found that there are many life forms here. He flew in directly, and it turned out that there were so many planet guards here. This is the most prosperous area in the star field. There are so many planet guards. This is really beyond Su Yan's expectations. How can there be so many guardians here? However, in the current situation, Su Yan can't think about so many problems, he has to solve the immediate crisis first. Swish! Su Yan controlled the Hyperion and flew to the liaison officer of the star battleship on that planet. As soon as those stellar battleship liaison officers saw Su Yan flying over, they shouted. In this galaxy, they are all high-level personnel. Usually here, they walk sideways, and no one dares to provoke them. Now that a stranger suddenly appeared, how could they not be afraid? The Hyperion flew to the side of the stellar battleship liaison officer, and then the defensive cover on the stellar battleship shrouded the stellar battleship liaison officer. Su Yan steered the Hyperion, launched a laser bomb, and bombarded the liaison officer of the star battleship. This laser projectile is fired by the electromagnetic railgun's electromagnetic cannon. Once hit, even a piece of metal will turn into iron filings. What? This star battleship liaison officer's reaction speed is quite fast. He immediately dodged the laser bullets, but he was still affected by some, and his clothes were burned. This star battleship liaison officer, looking at Su Yan in the distance, his face darkened. How dare this outsider attack him? At this moment, a voice came from the headset of this star battleship liaison officer. Commander, all you need to do now is to delay time, let the rest of the ships come to support, and be sure to catch this outsider. Okay, execute it now, said the star battleship liaison officer, and at the same time, controlled the star battleship and attacked Su Yan. The star warship of this star warship liaison officer is equipped with a large number of laser weapons and also carries a large number of explosion-proof devices. This star warship liaison officer does not believe that with these laser weapons, he will not be able to defeat this outsider. Huh. Huh. These laser weapons slammed into the outer defensive cover of Su Yan's Hyperion. However, this defensive cover was extremely hard and could not be broken at all. Ha ha ha, you kid, you are really courting death. The liaison officer of the star battleship said triumphantly. Seeing this, Su Yan just sneered and didn't say anything. Although these lasers were powerful, Su Yan didn't care at all. Because of this level of attack, his Hyperion could be easily blocked. Su Yan controls the Hyperion, resisting the bombardment of these lasers again and again. The laser bombarded the outside of the Hyperion, sending out a series of roars. Boom! Bang! These lasers, each time they hit the Hyperion, caused violent explosions. At this time, those laser rays bombarded the Hyperion, and the explosion sound became louder and louder. Not only that, these laser rays are also getting stronger and denser. At this time, the laser radiation also began to increase. Su-Yan's purpose is to hold back the output of these laser rays and prevent them from continuing to increase. In this way, the Hyperion can be unaffected and continue to fly towards those star warships. Su-Yan controlled the Hyperion and flew towards one of the battleships. Number 7. Damn it, the captains of these battleships saw that the Hyperion's attack range was getting wider and wider, and immediately panicked, and quickly turned around, wanting to leave the Hyperion's attack range. Boom boom. These battleship captains used laser weapons to bombard the Hyperion. Su-Yan controlled the Hyperion, weaving in and out of the encirclement of this group of battleships. Point 0. Under the bombardment of this laser weapon, the defensive cover of the Hyperion seemed a little shaky, but the energy on the Hyperion could still withstand these lasers. Damn, how come his energy reserves are so plentiful? The captains of these battleships were stunned. Under the attack of this intensity, this outsider can still retain so much energy. At this time, they also knew that their attack would not help the Hyperion at all, and this outsider seemed to want to delay them. So, they immediately gave up attacking the Hyperion and turned to defense. At this time, their energy has been consumed a lot, and this outsider still has no consumption, is still so powerful, this is simply too terrifying. Boom. The laser continued to bombard the Hyperion, and the speed of the Hyperion also slowed down a lot. Damn. This outsider is so cunning. He wants to drain our energy. That's right. His mind is really vicious. These liaison officers saw Su-Yan's intention and cursed one by one. However, they have nothing to do with the Hyperion. The energy reserves of this outsider are too abundant, and they can't do anything about him at all. At this time, hundreds of lasers were fired again and bombarded the Hyperion. The intensity of the laser is much stronger than before. Loss. The shell of the Hyperion was hit by these lasers, and cracks appeared immediately. Su-Yan controlled the Hyperion's defensive cover, blinking constantly. Ha ha ha, these laser shells can't hurt me at all. You want to deal with me just with these garbage laser cannonballs. The hull of the Hyperion was hit, but the defensive cover of the Hyperion was not destroyed. At this time, Su-Yan controlled the Hyperion and rushed towards several other stellar battleships. He wants to take this opportunity to defeat all the remaining 5-star warships. Boom. At this time, the speed of the Hyperion also increased. The stellar battleship is a huge stellar battleship with a very huge volume, and these laser rays are not emitted by a single 170. Su-Yan controls the Hyperion under these laser beams, constantly shuttles, dodging the laser's attack. Su-Yan controls the Hyperion, constantly shuttling, constantly approaching the 5-star warships. Soon, the Hyperion was only 200,000 to 300,000 kilometers away from one of the star warships. The Hyperion, keep going. Su-Yan ordered the Hyperion. The speed of the Hyperion began to pick up again. The captain of this stellar battleship, seeing such a situation, couldn't help but be surprised. This battleship of theirs was able to fire laser shells, and it could not be oppressed by energy. Such a thing is a very difficult existence. Now, Su-Yan is driving the Hyperion, but relies on the energy of these laser shells to evade. From this point of view, the defensive performance of this warship seems to be not very good. The defensive performance of this battleship is indeed not very good, but this does not mean that they are weaker. After all, this is a stellar battleship. A battleship of this level has a high technological content, otherwise, it cannot be regarded as a first-class battleship. So this level of warships, in fact, there are still some powerful. However, they met Su-Yan. The Hyperion, but Su-Yan's favorite battleship, is an invincible-level battleship. It can be said that in the universe, the Hyperion is absolutely invincible. These laser cannonballs can't help the Hyperion, this battleship is just a cover. At this time, the Hyperion had already approached the vicinity of the battleship. Su Yan manipulated the Hyperion, and suddenly jumped out of the space next to it and rammed towards the battleship. The main gun of this battleship has been destroyed by Su Yan, so the power of the main gun of this battleship has been weakened a lot. The Hyperion slammed into the battleship. The hull of the battleship trembled violently, and then it was penetrated by the Hyperion and turned into a mass of fragments. These fragments quickly turned into countless particles and disappeared. This outsider actually really destroyed this battleship. The deputy captain of the battleship, seeing such a scene, couldn't help but gasped. Their captain's defense system of this battleship is indeed very good. The Hyperion's attack power is very strong, and their battleship defense system is simply unable to resist the Hyperion. Therefore, their battleship was destroyed by the Hyperion. The Hyperion's attack was too strong. Su Yan controlled the Hyperion and chased after the other 4 battleships. Boom! Su Yan was in control of the Hyperion, frantically crashing against the defensive hoods of the rest of the battleships. He controlled the Hyperion and rammed into another star battleship. At this time, the captain of this battleship finally reacted. All attention, retreat immediately, fast, fast, fast. The captain of the battleship, shouting continuously, at the same time he controlled the laser shells and started to attack Su Yan, but Su Yan ignored the captain at all. He controlled the Hyperion and rammed toward the 3rd star battleship. Although the stellar battleship also has the defensive energy of the stellar shield, their stellar shield is outside the star, and there is no way to enter the star. Their stellar shields also don't protect themselves perfectly. This stellar battleship was also smashed by Su Yan's stellar shield, and then penetrated by the Hyperion. The attack power of the Hyperion is terrifying. This kind of attack power, even the main gun of the space battleship, may not be able to withstand a collision from the Hyperion. So the defense system of this star warship, in front of the Hyperion, is so fragile. Ah, damn it! The captain of this battleship let out a roar. Start the laser cannonball for me, kill this human being. Kill him. Whoosh! One after another laser cannonballs shot out from these stellar battleships. Aim in the direction of the Hyperion and shoot away. Su Yan controls the Hyperion, constantly dodging the laser shells. At the same time, the Hyperion is still constantly attacking these star warships and destroying them. This time, the captain of this star battleship was completely panicked. The captain of this star battleship quickly controlled the Hyperion and quickly fled in the other 4 directions. The captain of this stellar battleship has understood that if they continue to fight against Su Yan, their result will definitely be a disastrous defeat, and even the Hyperion will give them complete annihilation. The Hyperion is an invincible warship. Their warships are just ordinary warships. The difference between the two is too far, so the captain chose to escape. 2.6 The captain of this battleship has lost his face. At this time, his order has been issued, and everyone obeyed the order and began to flee in other directions. Want to go? Su Yan's mouth twitched, there was no door. After finishing speaking, he controlled the Hyperion and chased after the star battleship. Su Yan controlled the Hyperion, caught up with the star battleship, and then used the Hyperion to slam the battleship violently. The impact force of the Hyperion was many times more terrifying than the laser cannonball. In an instant, the battleship was knocked out by Su Yan. The Hyperion continued to pursue, and the captain of the battleship quickly issued an order to let the laser shells on the battleship begin to attack the Hyperion. Su Yan controlled the Hyperion to dodge. The Hyperion's defensive capabilities are very strong. No matter how powerful laser cannonballs Su Yan can dodge. The Hyperion can perform ultra-low temperature exhalation, so that the main guns of this stellar battleship cannot shoot ultra-high temperature energy. The captain of the star battleship knows Su Yan's ability. He knows that the Hyperion is very powerful, but his laser shells are also invincible. He believed that his laser cannonballs could wreck the Hyperion. The Hyperion was very fast, and the stellar battleship simply couldn't catch up with Su Yan's Hyperion. It is still being suppressed by the Hyperion, which makes the captain of this stellar battleship very embarrassed. The captain of the Hyperion already knew how terrifying Su Yan's true fighting power was. The only thing he can do now is to leave the Hyperion as soon as possible, and escape is the kingly way. Huh. The Hyperion crashed into the main gun of this star battleship. Although the speed of the main gun of this star battleship was not slow, it was the difference between a snail and a dragon compared to Su Yan's Hyperion. The Hyperion easily avoided the main gun of the star battleship, and at the same time continued to sprint forward, rushing towards the other star battleships. Soon, the stellar battleship was completely destroyed by Su Yan. The Hyperion continued to pursue other star warships. Other stellar battleships did not dare to confront the Hyperion at all, and they all avoided the pursuit of the Hyperion. Su Yan continued to charge forward, destroying other star warships along the way. Su Yan's attack has never stopped, destroying these stellar battleships all the way, causing these stellar battleships to suffer heavy losses. The Hyperion's attack power is too powerful. However, the stronger the Hyperion's attack power, the easier Su Yan's plan would become. This efficiency is still too slow. Su Yan frowned. Su Yan controls the Hyperion, constantly sailing in space, looking for other star warships, and then destroying them. Soon, the Hyperion found two stellar battleships. The scale of these two stellar battleships is still relatively large. There is a battleship with a distance of several million kilometers, which is an invincible level battleship. Su Yan controlled the Hyperion and suddenly rammed towards the battleship. Suddenly, there was a violent explosion on the battleship. The defense capability of the Hyperion is much stronger than that of other invincible warships, and the tyranny of the Hyperion is far beyond the imagination of other warships. On the Hyperion, there was a violent shock, and then this invincible stellar battleship was crashed by the Hyperion. Soon, the other two invincible-level stellar battleships were also destroyed by the Hyperion. Su Yan operated the Hyperion and continued to search for the rest of the battleships, destroying all the other battleships. The strength of these battleships is relatively strong, and the stellar battleships are very united. Once they are united, they will exert a huge formidable power, like a giant snake, capable of swallowing anything. So along the way, Su Yan encountered almost countless stellar battleships, and Su Yan kept bombarding these stellar battleships. The attack power of Su Yan's Hyperion was too tyrannical, destroying countless stellar battleships along the way, causing other battleships to avoid Su Yan's Hyperion one after another, daring not to approach Su Yan's Hyperion. Don't dare to confront Su Yan head-on. Soon after, these star warships, only one of the captains of the warships was still alive. This captain was fleeing frantically, and Su Yan's Hyperion was chasing after this captain. The captain of this stellar battleship kept attacking the Hyperion while fleeing, but he found helplessly that his laser shells could not harm Su Yan at all. His laser shells could not penetrate the Hyperion at all, so he did not cause damage to the Hyperion, but was destroyed by the Hyperion, which made him very annoyed. Bastard! Bastard! I will never spare you, I must die without a burial. The captain of the stellar battleship growled. While angry, the captain tried to escape, hoping to escape Su Yan's pursuit and escape to other stellar battleships. The captain of this stellar battleship also knew his own strength and could not compete with the Hyperion at all, so he did not seek revenge for the Hyperion, but wanted to escape. However, his speed, where is the opponent of the Hyperion? Su Yan controlled the Hyperion and suddenly disappeared from the spot. Whoosh! A red streamer, from the rear of the Hyperion, shot towards the captain of the stellar battleship, hitting the stellar battleship accurately. Immediately, the stellar battleship was directly penetrated by Su Yan's Hyperion. The captain of this star battleship was also killed by Su Yan. Afterwards, the Hyperion continued to pursue the other stellar battleships. The Hyperion took out 3 more stellar ships. At this time, other star warships also discovered the existence of the Hyperion, and they immediately attacked the Hyperion. A group of stellar battleships, densely surrounded by 170 millimeters around the Hyperion, formed an incomparably tight encirclement. Su Yan controls the Hyperion and shuttles back and forth within this extremely tight encirclement. No battleship could break through the protection of his Hyperion. Therefore, the Hyperion, in this extremely wide area, is cruising freely, constantly destroying other stellar battleships. While the Hyperion was constantly destroying the stellar battleships, the Hyperion also attracted the attention of many stellar battleships. The Hyperion, a formidable adversary, can not only travel within the star system, but also outside the star system. His attack energy cannons and laser cannonballs will produce huge destructive power, so many battleships' armors were destroyed by the Hyperion. The armors of these battleships are extremely precious treasures, so that the Hyperion can obtain more energy source points and enhance the repairability. The leader of the stellar battleship, also seeing the power of Su Yan's Hyperion, soon dispatched a fleet to attack. The scale of this fleet is very large, with thousands of stellar warships. The scale of these stellar battleships is much larger than those of those battleships, so they are also very powerful, and they deserve to be invincible stellar battleships. Su Yan looked at the scene in front of him and was slightly surprised. He didn't expect these stellar battleships to be so powerful that they could discover his own Hyperion. He had no reason to back down. So he controlled the Hyperion and flew towards this fleet. Soon, the Hyperion rushed in, and then had a violent collision with the fleet. The Hyperion's protective shield is very powerful, and some laser shells can't harm the Hyperion at all. Su Yan was controlling the Hyperion and was constantly destroying the fleet. Soon the fleet lost half of it, and the remaining stellar battleships had to choose to retreat. They have seen the horror of this warship. If they do not withdraw, their losses will be even more. Soon, they returned to the star system, not daring to approach the Hyperion easily. Su Yan did not continue to pursue, but controlled the Hyperion and rushed towards other star systems. The Hyperion was very large and very fast, so it quickly left other stellar warships behind. However, the Hyperion did not relax its vigilance, and once other star warships attacked again, he would continue to pursue and kill. In the blink of an eye, another 2 months passed. The Hyperion consumed a lot of combat energy, so its speed was noticeably slowed down. Could it be because the battleship's energy reserves are depleted? Su Yan thought. It should be. However, the Hyperion's energy reserve is still sufficient, and this should not happen. Therefore, the energy reserve of this battleship must be no problem. Su Yan thought about it and felt that this matter was a bit strange. However, Su Yan didn't have time to think so much, and the Hyperion continued to shuttle. Finally back in the galaxy. Standing in the cabin of the Hyperion, Su Yan felt the breath of the Milky Way and was very excited. Why is it so lively here? At this time, Su Yan suddenly heard a loud noise coming from the void in the distance. Su Yan looked at the sound and found that in the void not far ahead, there was a fleet of tens of thousands of people, all of them driving spaceships, flying in the direction of the Milky Way. Huh? There seemed to be no humans in these spaceships? Su Yan found that there was no human shadow in these spaceships. However, although there is no human existence, these spaceships are also cosmos-level warships, and they all have high-tech weapons. The speed of sailing in this universe is very fast, and it can span hundreds of kilometers in almost every second. They soon caught up with the Hyperion. The main ship of this fleet should be a superstar warship, and the masters in this fleet are also super cosmos powerhouses. Are these people here to chase and kill me? Su Yan wondered in his heart. He didn't know what was going on. All he knew was that he encountered a huge army in the void of the universe. Moreover, in these armies, there are many super-universe powerhouses. No matter what, let's hide for a while, and then return to the Milky Way after their legions are dispersed. Su Yan thought about it for a while and decided to hide for a while, and then return to the Milky Way after their legions were all dispersed. Swish! The Hyperion accelerated its speed and galloped forward. On the main ship of this fleet, a super cosmos powerhouse sat at the bow of the ship, staring straight ahead. The vice president, the human Hyperion, seems to be running away. A senior general next door reports. Humph, want to escape, dream. The cosmic snorted coldly, and then ordered the soldiers of the fleet to immediately start a chase, be sure to catch this human race, and then capture it alive. Yes. Many soldiers nodded. At this time, Su Yan in the Hyperion also discovered that this fleet was chasing him. How annoying. There are so many soldiers, if I fight with them recklessly, there will definitely be casualties. Su Yan thought to himself. However, this is also impossible, and Su Yan has no way to get rid of this fleet, and can only continue to fly in the direction of the Milky Way. Soon after, Su Yan discovered that this fleet had gone straight to the Milky Way. Oops, it seems that this fleet is planning to capture me back and hand it over to the Imperial Army. Su Yan raised his eyebrows. He had already guessed what these people were going to do. No need to guess, he was definitely going to arrest him for interrogation, or execute him. It seems that in this interstellar era, there is no peace anymore. Su Yan sighed and continued to fly towards the Milky Way. Soon, however, Su Yan's face became solemn, because he felt that someone was approaching his Hyperion from a distance. It seems that these guys are not going to let me go. Su Yan shook his head. He had no choice but to continue flying, hoping to avoid the pursuit of these guys as much as possible, but he was not sure that he could escape the pursuit of these guys. At this time, the fleet was getting closer and closer to the Hyperion. This fleet has already divided a lot of people and started to approach Su Yan's Hyperion. It seems that they want to outflank Su Yan's Hyperion. It seems that their intention is very clear, that is, they intend to surround me. Su Yan thought to himself. Su Yan is not afraid of being surrounded by them. Over the years, Su Yan has also encountered many times of being surrounded. Boom boom boom. Not long after, getting Zhao's, this group of interstellar civilizations finally surrounded Su Yan's Hyperion. This is an army of warships, all of them warships, some of them starships. They surrounded the Hyperion and stopped. Their goal, Su Yan, was to arrest him and bring him back to the army for disposal. The people on the Hyperion listen, stop and surrender immediately, we won't hurt you. A super cosmos powerhouse shouted towards the Hyperion at the forefront of the fleet. The Hyperion is mine, and no one can take it away. The crew of the Hyperion, listen, you stop resisting now, lay down your weapons and surrender, and stop resisting, or the Hyperion will be punished the most severely by us. These people are really boring, they want to take me back and send it to the army. Everyone on the Hyperion couldn't help laughing when they heard the cry of the interstellar powerhouse. Since they want to play, let's play with them. Su Yan raised a sinister smile, and then ordered the crew of the Hyperion, all personnel, prepare to meet the enemy. The soldiers on the Hyperion immediately took action. In the interstellar battleship, the people of the interstellar civilization couldn't help being stunned when they heard the human voice coming from the Hyperion. What are they talking about? Why can't I understand? I don't understand either. Are the people on the Hyperion crazy? They dare to say such a thing. Haha, the people in the Hyperion are really funny, our battleship team, but the battle fleet of the super cosmos civilization, they dare to deal with us? Haha, it's just an idiot's dream, I've already seen clearly how their combat effectiveness is, it's just like an ant. This group of super cosmos powerhouses of the interstellar civilization all laughed, and then continued to urge to stop the Hyperion. 170 The people inside the Hyperion listen, I advise you to give up your resistance immediately, or our artillery fire will blow the Hyperion to pieces. I advise you to leave as soon as possible, I will not kill innocent people, otherwise, I will attack your battleship. Su Yan said lightly. What did you say? Did I hear it correctly? This human being is threatening us? Doesn't he know that their Hyperion has been surrounded by us? Ha ha ha. Is this human insane? Does he think that our battleship is not something he can fight against? I think he still surrenders obediently, and we may be able to spare his life. These people of the interstellar civilization burst into laughter when they heard Su Yan's words, and they mocked the people on the Hyperion. Su Yan didn't bother to pay attention to them, just let the Hyperion leave. The crew of the Hyperion, upon hearing Su Yan's words, immediately turned on the defensive mode. Boom! 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 The space warships of these interstellar civilizations began to attack the Hyperion. Although the DBCG attacks of these starships did not cause much damage to the Hyperion, it also caused the Hyperion to be hindered a lot. However, the Hyperion's battleship has a protective cover, so those attacks did not destroy its protective cover, but allowed it to move forward firmly. This makes the battleships of the interstellar civilization feel very aggrieved. None of our attacks did much harm to the Hyperion, and they were really stubborn. Humph, such a protective cover can only ensure their survival. When our artillery shells attack, they will definitely be destroyed by us. This time, we will destroy their battleships. Yes, you can't let the tiger go back to the mountain. I think this warship is still reserved for you, so that you can study it carefully to see if you can crack this protective cover. But the material of this protective cover is very precious. It is estimated that it will take a while to find such a material. Ha ha ha, that's a must. We also need to study these warships. However, these warships will be given to you first. Anyway, there are still 100 warships here that have not attacked. These warships were developed by interstellar civilization. These rubbish warships are not even qualified to carry our shoes. That is, these warships are nothing at all in my eyes. The people of these interstellar civilizations made a mockery of the people in the Hyperion. These guys are really crazy. Su Yan stared coldly at the battleships of the interstellar civilization outside, and was extremely angry. At this time, Su Yan did not act rashly. Now, it is not the time for him to clash with the people of these interstellar civilizations. After all, Su Yan couldn't be sure whether he was the opponent of the battleship of this interstellar civilization. So, still stand still. Waiting for the moment. Not only that, Su Yan is also observing the interstellar civilization's interstellar warships. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations, in this area, are a huge number of interstellar battleships. Every interstellar warship is hundreds of meters long, and even thousands of tons of warships. The main function of these spaceships is to attack the enemy. These interstellar battleships are like a sharp sword, raging in the starry sky. Although the Hyperion where Su Yan is now is also a super-cosmic civilization, it is still weaker than these interstellar civilizations. Su Yan didn't want to conflict with these interstellar civilizations, so he didn't attack. Otherwise, Su Yan would have sent the Hyperion out to attack these interstellar warships. The people in the Hyperion are also waiting. As long as Su Yan's order is given, they will immediately attack the warships of the interstellar civilization. The Hyperion, ready to attack. Su Yan said. The crew on the Hyperion nodded, knowing that it was time to launch an attack. The crew of the Hyperion heeded orders and launched an attack. Su Yan shouted loudly. Yes. Following Su Yan's order, all the people on the Hyperion aimed their weapons at the battleships of the interstellar civilization outside. Swoosh. One after another, the shells were shot towards the battleships of the interstellar civilization outside, and the speed of the shells was extremely fast. Almost instantly, they flew out and shot on the battleships of the interstellar civilization. Boom. The cannonball penetrated the protective cover of the interstellar civilization and exploded inside. There were bursts of noise, and the shells exploded one by one, causing the warships of the interstellar civilization to suffer serious injuries. Asshole. They are provoking us. We're going to kill them all. Kill. Kill them. From the battleships of these interstellar civilizations, there was a loud cry, which was the angry cry of the people in the interstellar civilization. They were completely outraged. Rays of light shot out from these battleships, and these rays of light crossed an arc in the air and flew in the direction of the Hyperion. One after another, the shells fell on the Hyperion and exploded on the Hyperion, causing the Hyperion to shake. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. All the crew members in the Hyperion were panicked. The power of these shells was great. None of them thought that these interstellar civilizations would dare to attack. Don't worry everyone, this is a test, as long as we stick to it, these shells will not attack. Su Yan comforted the crew of the Hyperion. Everyone responded, and they all calmed down. Although they calmed down, the crew members of the Hyperion were all drumming in their hearts, and their eyes were constantly looking at the battleship in front. The attack frequency of these artillery shells is getting faster and more frequent, and they can now clearly see the trajectory of these artillery shells. As long as those people from the interstellar civilization attack, the Hyperion will be able to evade, and will not be directly destroyed by these shells. Everyone in the Hyperion was calm. They were all watching the battle. They also want to see if these interstellar civilizations can pose a threat to the Hyperion. If the interstellar civilization can cause a certain degree of damage to the Hyperion, then the Hyperion will run away immediately and will not continue to fight against the warships of the interstellar civilization. While the interstellar civilization's interstellar warships were attacking, Su Yan was not idle. In Su Yan's mind, the interstellar civilization's warships kept flashing. Su Yan wants to learn something from the interstellar civilization, and Su Yan wants to use the technology on the interstellar civilization's interstellar warships to manufacture higher-tech warships. This will result in a more powerful warship. Can also win the war. Su Yan also won't give up and prepare for future battles. Boom boom boom. The artillery fire inside the Hyperion has been fired. The Hyperion returned to calm, and the interstellar civilization outside did not continue to attack the Hyperion. Nor did they know how the Hyperion had defended against their attack. They also don't know what to do. Did these guys really stop attacking? Impossible. Did we really guess wrong? In any case, we cannot let our guard down. They must be playing tricks, trying to lure us into their trap, and then we'll fall for it. The warriors of these interstellar civilizations still did not give up, and there was still a sense of unease in their hearts, so they did not retreat immediately. Behind them, those interstellar civilization legions did not leave, they followed behind, ready to wait for the commander of the interstellar civilization to issue an order. The corners of Su Yan's mouth twitched slightly, revealing a smile. He knew that these people from the interstellar civilization would never give up easily, and would definitely attack again. Inside the Hyperion, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. They really thought just now that the people of these interstellar civilizations would continue to attack the Hyperion while the Hyperion stopped attacking. I have to admit that the Hyperion is a super warship that cannot be ignored. The protection of the Hyperion is also much stronger than before, and the artillery shells of the interstellar civilization cannot destroy the battle armor of the Hyperion. The Hyperion's battle armor is a top-notch battleship, and even a nuclear bomb cannot damage it anywhere. Su Yan was sitting on the Hyperion, on the console of the Hyperion. Su Yan was looking at the screen, a spaceship, firing shells towards the Hyperion. These interstellar battleships were transferred from the Star Alliance, an army drawn from the army on that planet. However, this is just a temporary army, their combat effectiveness is really limited, and their attacks are only small-scale artillery fire. When Su Yan stared at the screen, he suddenly heard a dense whistling sound in his ear. Then, a strong aura of danger quickly enveloped his body. Su Yan reacted quickly, and then he immediately activated an invisible defense cover on the Hyperion. This time, a cannonball flew towards the Hyperion. The power of this cannonball is also very terrifying. When the shell was about to hit the Hyperion, a golden beam shot out from the muzzle of the Hyperion. The golden beam quickly wrapped the cannonball, and then swallowed the cannonball into the golden beam. Boom boom boom. The interstellar battleship immediately exploded violently, then turned into a flame and disappeared into the air, leaving only a pile of debris. Seeing this scene, everyone took a deep breath. This is too perverted. This is too great, isn't it? Oh my God. Too great, right? The people of the interstellar civilization opened their mouths in surprise when they saw this scene. They couldn't believe what they saw with their eyes. Ordinary artillery shells couldn't cause any damage to the warships of the interstellar civilization. When they saw that the Hyperion had a protective cover on it before, they were still laughing at the Hyperion. It was just a bluff. They thought they guessed wrong, but they guessed wrong. Point 0. This Hyperion really has a defensive cover, and it is a very powerful one. The people of these interstellar civilizations are really stupid. How can there be no shield on my Hyperion? The people of these interstellar civilizations are really too stupid, right? This Hyperion has a protective cover on it, and they have not thought about it. If they don't shoot the shells on this Hyperion, how can it be possible? Dealing damage to the Hyperion's shield. Yes. It's so stupid and pitiful. Everyone was talking about it one after another, expressing disdain for the intelligence quotient of these interstellar civilization people. These guys are simply stupid. Well, in that case, don't blame us for being rude. Su Yan looked at the Hyperion and snorted coldly. Kill them without mercy. Boom. On the Hyperion, a huge roar sounded immediately. Immediately afterwards, rows of cannonballs flew out of the cannons of the Hyperion and poured towards the interstellar battleships. After a round of salvos, those interstellar battleships were immediately beaten into sieves. The shells in the Hyperion have also been improved, not only able to pass through energy walls, but also to penetrate some metals. The hardness of these metals is poor. This also comes with a powerful shockwave. Once this shockwave hits, it can immediately shatter the outer shell of the starship. The Hyperion was like a heavy tank. Under the impact of the shells, it quickly rolled over. Rolling over all the way, the interstellar battleship is like an ant on the beach, and there is no resistance at all. Like a piece of paper, it was destroyed in an instant, and it couldn't resist the attack of the Hyperion at all. Su Yan looked at the people of these interstellar civilizations, and after being killed, a satisfied look appeared on his face. He knew that the people of these interstellar civilizations simply did not have the ability to break through the defensive cover of his Hyperion. The combat effectiveness of the Hyperion has improved a lot compared to before. His current battleship is like a chariot carrying a large mountain. It can move quickly, and its attack range is very wide. It's so cool. In this way, these people from the interstellar civilization 170 have no way to attack us. Yes, with these interstellar civilization warships, it seems that there are countless weapons, and there is no need to worry about any enemy that can attack us. The people of these interstellar civilizations are simply too weak. These warships and cannonballs are enough to make them perish. The people of these interstellar civilizations are so stupid. Everyone was talking. The soldiers of these interstellar civilizations, seeing those battleships in front of them, were easily cut like tofu, and they all felt very terrified. Although the soldiers of the interstellar civilization have not personally witnessed the attack of the defensive cover on the Hyperion, they clearly recorded the scene of the Hyperion battle in their minds. They know how powerful the defense cover of the Hyperion is. In the military atlases of the interstellar civilization, the Hyperion is the most powerful warship. It is no wonder that the introduction of the Hyperion in these military atlases is so detailed. Amazing! Is this the legendary war fortress? The technology of our interstellar civilization is really far superior to theirs. Such a war fortress would have no problem even facing 100 warships. Yes. Watching the people of these interstellar civilizations, under their own attacks, being beaten around and running away, they all felt very refreshed. The soldiers on the Hyperion were also very happy. They had not been so happy for a long time. During this period of time, they were also bullied by the people of these interstellar civilizations. Now, finally, there is a chance for revenge. How many shells are on this Hyperion? Now more than 300 battleships of interstellar civilization have been defeated. This fire is really fierce. Haha. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations are really rubbish, and they want to attack the Hyperion with cannonballs. They are simply idiots. Yes. The people of these interstellar civilizations are really stupid. Everyone was very happy when they talked about it. To them, their battle was like a group of children playing. They never thought that they would encounter the battleships of interstellar civilization. The battleship of this interstellar civilization is so fragile. Su Yan only needed one round of shells to hit them all over the place. These interstellar civilizations are still too weak. Su Yan shook his head and sighed, and said, "Yes. Such a battleship is really vulnerable. This kind of warship, if we send any warship out, we can easily destroy it all." Su Yan also nodded. He now feels very disdain for these interstellar civilization people. It's not that he looks down on the people of these interstellar civilizations, but because the people of these interstellar civilizations are really rubbish. How could such a person be his opponent? Such a battleship was like a pile of scrap iron in front of him. Su Yan is also full of emotion now. He didn't expect that he came here and encountered such a batch of garbage. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations are so weak that they can't even beat his Hyperion, let alone deal with him. The battle on the Hyperion also lasted for about half an hour. During this process, the defensive cover of the Hyperion remained unchanged. The battle armor on the Hyperion was not broken, and even no traces were left. Great! Our warships were not damaged. Ha ha! When everyone saw that these battleships were not attacked by them, they all cheered happily. They have just come out, and they have already defeated hundreds of battleships of interstellar civilization, which makes these warriors all excited, and they are gearing up to continue their attack. At this time, in the battleships of the interstellar civilization, those high-level officials were very angry when they saw their battleships being destroyed. They didn't care about that much, and directly ordered those warships to continue firing on the Hyperion. They themselves rushed towards the Hyperion quickly, preparing to use those artillery fire to carry out a devastating attack on the Hyperion. Come on! Let me see how great you are. Seeing the battleships of the interstellar civilization rushing towards him, Su Yan's eyes were filled with strong fighting intent. Now, he also really wants to see how powerful these interstellar civilizations are. These interstellar civilization warships, under their control, began to frantically attack the Hyperion. Cannonballs shot out from the battleships of these interstellar civilizations and smashed towards the Hyperion. These shells are very rough, and the power is also very weak. The density of these shells is still very huge. Boom! A violent explosion sounded suddenly. One shell after another bombarded 2.6 sides of the Hyperion's shell, and bursts of explosions occurred, causing the Hyperion to sway slightly. Su Yan looked at the cannonballs of these interstellar civilizations, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. The shell of the Hyperion is also a very hard thing. These shells are basically no threat to the Hyperion. Su Yan's purpose is not just to stop the warships of these interstellar civilizations. His purpose is to prevent those people from the universe civilization from entering the Shura universe. It is impossible for these people of interstellar civilization to leave here. Kill! Su Yan shouted and ordered the Hyperion to move on. The Hyperion continued to move forward, and he now knew that there was no main army in the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. There are only some ordinary soldiers who have no command ability at all. In front of his Hyperion, these men's warships were simply vulnerable. When the Hyperion continued to move forward, the warships of these interstellar civilizations began to attack frantically. These cannonballs of interstellar civilization have no way to cause the slightest threat to Su Yan. The outer shell of the Hyperion, like a steel plate, was not shattered by these shells at all. The Hyperion continued to move forward, and the battleships of the interstellar civilization were still firing wildly. These shells, on the Hyperion, seemed to have no effect at all. Seeing this, Su Yan's face was also a little bad. He also knew that these shells did not have much effect on the Hyperion. They wanted to obstruct the Hyperion's voyage. If so, don't blame me for being rude. Su Yan snorted coldly and ordered the Hyperion to move on. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations have no rules at all, and are completely random bombardment. After these shells bombarded the Hyperion, they did not cause much damage to the Hyperion, and the Hyperion was still moving forward slowly. At this 31 time, the battleship of the interstellar civilization also discovered its own shells, and it was unable to cause damage to the Hyperion at all. The intelligence system in the battleship of the interstellar civilization also began to think about countermeasures. The Hyperion, not afraid of our shells at all, doesn't know how. However, since we can't destroy the Hyperion, we can also make it seriously damaged. When our shells are finished, this warship must be scrapped. At that time, even if we want to escape, this warship will be destroyed. The weapon system on a warship cannot be resisted either. As long as we can kill the pilot of that warship, then the warship will be finished. The battleship of this interstellar civilization could not help but speak. Hearing his words, the rest of the interstellar civilizations also agreed. That's right, as long as we can kill the pilot on this warship, then this warship will definitely be scrapped, and our warship will be able to escape here. This warship is really too powerful, we are not his opponents at all, but if we can kill the pilot of this warship, then this warship is ours. Our luck this time is very good. The battleship we encountered should have just been built, so the battleship system inside has not been replaced. Otherwise, our battleship would not be an opponent of this battleship at all. Now these are not important, the important thing is to kill this human being. As long as we kill him, our mission this time will be completed. Inside the battleships of these interstellar civilizations, there were discussions. Su Yan stood in the highest control room of the Hyperion, looking at the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. His eyes were also cold. The Hyperion also began to launch a counterattack, and the target of this counterattack was clearly the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. The muzzle of the Hyperion spit out flames in an instant, and these flames quickly condensed, and then bombarded the warships of these interstellar civilizations. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations also quickly emitted bursts of light. These rays of light quickly condensed to form a protective cover. This protective cover surrounded all these battleships and protected them from harm. Su Yan's attack landed on this protective cover, but this protective cover was not destroyed. On the contrary, this protective cover still absorbed the flames steadily. And the scientists in the battleships of these interstellar civilizations also showed a hint of surprise on their faces when they saw this situation. Unexpectedly, these battleships are really interesting. Seeing this scene, Su Yan couldn't help murmured, "These things really exist, but that's fine, I'd like to see how long these battleships can resist me." The Hyperion is not so easy to block. Su Yan's thoughts moved, and a lot of artillery fire appeared in the Hyperion. These artillery fires continued to bombard the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. Number 7. These artillery fires are so terrifying that our warships can't bear it at all. Run away, or we'll be bombed here. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations were bombarded by the artillery fire on the Hyperion, and they were also panicked. Under the bombardment of the Hyperion, their ships began to suffer a lot of damage. They began to adjust the muzzle, wanting to shell the Hyperion. Want to fire on my battleship? Then you can try it. Su Yan looked at the battleships of these interstellar civilizations and snorted coldly. Boom! The muzzle of the Hyperion shot violently with flames. Under the bombardment of these artillery fires, the battleships of the interstellar civilization began to suffer serious damage again. There are several warships of interstellar civilization, which have been destroyed by Su Yan's artillery fire. Their warships have lost their ability to resist. The artillery fire of the Hyperion bombarded all the way down, constantly bombarding the warships of the interstellar civilization. 170. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations also became weaker and weaker when they were bombarded by the artillery fire of the Hyperion. There was even a battleship of an interstellar civilization that exploded directly and turned into a pile of parts. On the Hyperion, a particle cannon was also ready. Call out. A beam of light was also emitted from the Hyperion, and in an instant, the particle cannon shot out directly from the Hyperion. Whizzing. The two beams landed on a battleship of the interstellar civilization, respectively. The two beams disappeared in a flash. When these two beams landed on the battleship of this interstellar civilization directly turned into a fragment, and then dissipated into the air. This scene looks very bloody. but for Su Yan, he doesn't feel bloody at all. Because these battleships, in his eyes, are not valuable at all. In his eyes, the battleships of these interstellar civilizations are just a pile of garbage. The interstellar civilization warships in this battleship saw this scene, and they were all stunned for a moment, and then the panic on their faces became more intense. No way, our battleship was destroyed, we must retreat quickly, otherwise, we will die here, go. Let's go, if we keep fighting like this, we won't be able to resist it at all. Come on, we can't stay here any longer. These interstellar civilizations are not as easy to bully as we have seen. Under the bombardment of these artillery fire, their battleships began to appear damaged. They also know that these battleships will not last long. If they continue to stay here, they will definitely be completely destroyed by the Hyperion. As a result, these people fled for their lives. The soldiers in the Hyperion did not let them go. The main gun of the Hyperion also bombarded again, and the battleships of these interstellar civilizations were blown to pieces. Boom! Inside the battleship of the interstellar civilization, groups of dazzling fireworks continued to bloom, and the shells flew into the sky one by one. It exploded in the sky like a meteor shower. But in these meteor showers, there are endless murderous intentions. Whoosh! These artillery fires also all bombarded the Hyperion. Under the bombardment of such crazy artillery fire, inside the battleships of these interstellar civilizations, there are figures one after another, falling out of these battleships. They all looked miserable, covered in blood, and their battleships were all covered with traces of artillery fire. The weapons on the Hyperion are all powerful, especially the artillery fire, which is even more powerful. The weapons in these battleships are just small cannons. These small cannons are not threatening at all for the Hyperion, and they are not very afraid of the weapons on the Hyperion. After such a war, the battleships of these interstellar civilizations were shocked by the fighting power of the Hyperion. As expected of the Hyperion, the strength is so powerful that it is simply terrifying. The main gun of the Hyperion is simply an invincible existence. Even in the universe, it is definitely a top-notch weapon. No matter who encounters the main gun of the Hyperion, it will only be killed in seconds. I heard that there are super huge guns in the Hyperion, which are not found in interstellar civilizations. The Hyperion is really cool. It's really not something we can resist. It seems that this time we are sure to lose. The audience watched this scene, and they were speechless in shock. They did not expect that Su Yan was so powerful that he destroyed all the battleships of these interstellar civilizations at once. Boom! In the midst of a violent explosion, the Hyperion also chased after the warships of the fleeing interstellar civilization. Under the pursuit of the Hyperion, the warships of these escaped interstellar civilizations were quickly chased. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations were all intercepted by the Hyperion, and the Hyperion also rushed into the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. The artillery fire of the Hyperion immediately bombarded the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. Boom! A cannonball directly pierced through the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations were also directly blown up, and the soldiers of the interstellar civilization were directly killed by artillery fire. The warriors in the battleship of the interstellar civilization were blasted to pieces, and blood was everywhere. Damn it! The attack method of the Hyperion is too powerful. Too arrogant, absolutely cannot forgive him. Kill! Su Yan directly controlled the Hyperion and rushed towards the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. The Hyperion, under the control of Su Yan, rushed forward frantically, and dozens of battleships were destroyed along the way. An hour later, the Hyperion finally smashed all the battleships of these interstellar civilizations to pieces. Whizzing! The energy cannons of the Hyperion also attacked the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. Under the bombardment of the weapons on the Hyperion, the entire battleship of the interstellar civilization also turned into countless fragments. These fragments are also floating in the void, and eventually they all slowly disappear. Receive! Su Yan controlled the Hyperion and directly collected the fragments. Then, Su Yan manipulated the Hyperion and quickly drove towards the headquarters of the Planetary Federation. The Hyperion was very fast, and within a quarter of an hour, it had reached the headquarters of the Planetary Federation. At this time, a fierce confrontation was going on inside the fortifications of the Planetary Federation. Haha, this Su Yan is really self-confidence. As long as our warships can withstand their artillery fire, then the warships of our interstellar civilization can also destroy all their warships. That's right, as long as their warships are destroyed, the Hyperion will also sink. Inside the battleship of the interstellar civilization, there are many voices of discussion. In these discussions, it is full of contempt for Su Yan. In the battleships of these interstellar civilizations, there are many masters. Among them there are some intelligent creatures of interstellar battleships, and their strength is very tyrannical. Su Yan, the Hyperion, is very powerful. Our warships can't resist his attack. Now, we need you to dispatch the Hyperion to attack their warships and help us kill them. What do you think? At this time, Li Changhe also walked to Su Yan's side, and then asked Su Yan. When Li Changhe spoke, his face was also very serious, and he was also very worried about the safety of the Hyperion. When Su Yan heard Li Changhe's words, he also nodded. Okay, from Zhao, no, I will immediately send the Hyperion to those warships of the interstellar civilization. I will try my best to stop their attacks and let our warships can successfully destroy their warships. Well, you have done a good job. There are many heavy weapons on the Hyperion. You can take out one of them and use these heavy weapons to directly destroy the battleships of the interstellar civilization. Su Yan is full of confidence. Then our battleship is waiting for your results. Li Changhe said, then turned and left Yun. Su Yan also controlled the Hyperion and rushed towards the battleships of the interstellar civilization. The Hyperion also began to frantically attack the battleships of those interstellar civilizations. The attack power of the Hyperion is terrifying, and there are also many interstellar creatures in the battleships of these interstellar civilizations. None of these interstellar creatures could stop the Hyperion's attack. The weapons on the Hyperion are also extremely terrifying weapons. A shell smashed in the past, and a battleship was completely scrapped. On the other side, under the attack of those interstellar creatures, the protective cover of the Hyperion was also broken. Su Yan also began to show his power, and the terrifying beams began to bombard the battleships of these interstellar creatures continuously. One after another huge flame cannons were continuously sprayed from the Hyperion. Bang bang! The battleships of the interstellar creatures were blown up, and the weapons of these interstellar creatures also began to fall on the Hyperion. Boom! A huge explosion sounded from above the Hyperion. This cannonball landed on the Hyperion's protective cover. This cannonball directly shattered the Hyperion's protective cover. The cannonball fell on the Hyperion. Inside the Hyperion, there was also a firestorm. The Hyperion has also been attacked again and again, but the protective cover of the Hyperion has become stronger and stronger. Although the Hyperion was damaged, it was still able to withstand such an attack. The protective cover on the Hyperion is as powerful as 170. Yes. The protective cover of the Hyperion has surpassed the protective cover of the cosmic level. The combat power of this Hyperion has surpassed that of ordinary warships. Yes. Ordinary spaceships may not be able to resist the attack of this Hyperion. At this time, the crowd watching the battle also talked a lot. Su Yan was slightly shocked when he heard these discussions. The protective cover of the Hyperion was exchanged by him from the system. The protective shield exchanged by the system is very terrifying. This Hyperion actually has an interstellar-level protective cover. This shocked Su Yan's heart. These interstellar creatures are indeed incomparably powerful. Such a protective cover should be considered a top-notch existence in these battleships of interstellar civilization, right? The protective cover of the Hyperion is indeed a very powerful existence. Su Yan said in his heart. Boom! At this time, the main cannon of the Hyperion also turned on violently, and a shell flew out from the main cannon, instantly piercing the shells of several interstellar battleships, and all the interstellar creatures in this interstellar battleship were bombed. The main gun of the Hyperion is too powerful. The power of this gun is simply too terrifying. Yes. The weapons on this interstellar battleship are also very terrifying weapons. As expected of the Hyperion, it is too strong. Those watching the battle couldn't help but admire the power of the Hyperion. The Hyperion's combat power is really too strong. In their eyes, the Hyperion seemed to have become a super battleship. Above the Hyperion, there is a disc suspended, and inside this disc, there is a continuous flow of black aura. These black breaths are the source of energy for the Hyperion. What a powerful shield. The main gun of the Hyperion is too powerful. If such a warship is on the planet, I am afraid that a star will be destroyed. This interstellar battleship is definitely beyond the existence of the universe. At this time, the interstellar creatures watching the battle were surprised again. The protective shield of the Hyperion was really terrifying. Even the battleships of the interstellar civilization have become precarious under the attack of the Hyperion. If it is not the battleship of the interstellar civilization, if the protective cover is relatively strong, it is estimated that the Hyperion would have already been defeated. On the outside of this interstellar warship, there is also a layer of strong protective cover. DBCG, the main battery of the Hyperion hit those shields, but it only made those shields tremble, and there was no way to break them. This made the crowd watching the battle shocked again. The main gun of the Hyperion is also really powerful. It was the first time I saw someone tremble with the ability to bombard the battleship of the interstellar civilization. Indeed, the Hyperion's main battery attack was really too powerful. This is the most powerful warship I have ever seen. Those watching the battle also praised the Hyperion. Their eyes were all focused on Suyan's body, and they were secretly surprised. What kind of identity is this human being, and how could he have such a terrifying battleship with such defensive power? Inside the Hyperion, the battleships of those interstellar civilizations also sounded, and they also attacked the Hyperion. The Hyperion begins a counteroffensive. On the Hyperion, there are constantly interstellar life, fighting in the Hyperion. Suyan saw that the soldiers of the Hyperion were so powerful that they could destroy a spaceship with one shot. It can also sink the enemy. This kind of battle is really too terrifying. At this time, Suyan was also very shocked in his heart. He did not expect that the protective shield of the Hyperion was so powerful. Suyan couldn't help thinking in his heart, it seems that in the future, the system will have to exchange more shields to prevent himself from being attacked by the enemy. Otherwise, these interstellar civilizations can attack the protective shield of the Hyperion anytime, anywhere, then the Hyperion will have no effect at all. If this continues, it will soon be captured by the interstellar civilization. The defensive capabilities of the Hyperion also made Suyan very satisfied. The main gun of the Hyperion also kept attacking the battleships of the interstellar civilization. The battleships of these interstellar civilizations also began to fight back against the Hyperion. The battle between the two sides in this starry sky is also very fierce. The main guns of the Hyperion, each gun has a power of tens of millions of tons, and each gun can easily tear the protective cover of an interstellar battleship. The Hyperion also began to move continuously in the starry sky. Suyan also kept controlling the Hyperion, allowing the Hyperion to continue to avoid the attack of the spaceship. At the same time, the Hyperion is also constantly releasing powerful energy, resisting the attacks from those attacks. Under the tracking of these interstellar civilization warships, the Hyperion began to dodge continuously. This interstellar battleship is also chasing the Hyperion frantically. The interstellar creatures in the Hyperion also continuously launched waves of artillery fire, attacking the interstellar battleship. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.